Nelson Mandela says, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Millions of children throughout the world are not receiving an education due to various reasons. Many organizations exist to assist schools with resources and tools for providing school supplies. There's a growing trend of teens choosing not to be educated. Now to hear the devastating numbers. Millions of children throughout the world are not receiving an education for various reasons. According to the Humanium website, lack of education ranks 5th out of the top 10 global issues. More than 72 million children throughout the globe that are of age to be in primary education are not enrolled in school. This can be attributed to inequality and marginalization as well as poverty. Humanium is an international child sponsorship program dedicated to stop violations of children's rights worldwide. Education is at the forefront of children's rights. Some children fall into the margins of the education system due to ethnic origin, language, and religion. When a student in a developed country is of a different ethnicity and speaks a foreign language, they may have a difficulty having a strong education, even within a good school system, simply due to their language barriers. For example, a student from Russia may enter into a public school system in rural Texas and take years to learn the English language. This student could fall into the cracks of marginalization and have a lack of education compared to the rest of the students. This issue is affecting throughout the world, mostly in poverty, which is mostly evident in Africa. Essentially, this concerns sub-Saharan Africa, which more than half of children receive an education for less than 4 years. In certain countries, such as Somalia and Burkina Faso, more than 50% of children receive an education for a period less than 2 years. Many of these struggling countries who do have a school experience a financial strain when it comes to providing supplies, such as pens, papers, and pencils, etc., which are necessary for a child's education. Now moving on to my next point. Many organizations exist to assist schools with resources and tools for providing education. A list of 38 NGOs dedicated to improve education worldwide were listed on ramton.org. I will detail 3 of these organizations for you to show a broad focus on educational level and locations, including Achieve, Child Empowerment International, and the Hunger Project. Achieve is the leading voice in college and career readiness in the United States. This organization works alongside with legislators in our country to make the concept of college and the beginning of a career an option for all students. They conduct research, communicate with government officials, and offer to keep the importance of education at the forefront of our country. While Achieve focuses on the education in the United States, Child Empowerment International focuses on war-torn locations. They provide health care and education for children living primarily in refugee camps. They set up day schools for children who do not have access to education in their temporary place of living. Finally, the Hunger Project exists in the nucleus of poverty-stricken areas. Its programs are located in Africa, South Asia, and Latin America, and base themselves on the approach of the women and men living in the villages to take control of their own problems. By receiving an education, the youth will turn into adults who will lead in development and progress. There are still other countless nonprofit organizations which aid in improving education throughout the world by providing supplies such as books, backpacks, and laptops, which are all necessary for education. Which brings me to my final point. Is this issue just here in town or just elsewhere around the world? In my hometown and even in my high school, there's a rising trend of teenagers choosing not to be educated. Within my graduating class of 40, 5 classmates have left over the 4 years who all began high school with us. All of these students have checked out of school and are claiming to be homeschooled. Each of these students live within our community, but do not appear to be working on their education. One of them works for his family farming business full-time. Another one of these students checked out of school before her last semester of graduation and works part-time at the local Sonic. The rest of the three can be seen anywhere in town, sometimes at football or basketball games, but do not appear to be working on or completing their education. Post-high school education is another declining trend. Students are now choosing to immediately get a job rather than going to a trade school to receive a certificate or a university to receive a bachelor's degree. We even have students who join a vocational program while in high school and complete the education of becoming a nursing aides assistant, opt out on getting their shortening opportunity and getting their LVN and RN. Some see the immediate paycheck and opt out on getting the additional training. Even those who do venture off to college don't seem to last long. Many will go 1 or 2 semesters and end right back at home, wondering how to figure out their future again. Receiving additional high school is the gateway to a successful future. Receiving education past high school, whether trade school or university, will increase their chances of a longevity, successful career. In conclusion, I hope your eyes have been opened about the lack of education, that it is a global issue, being in underdeveloped countries and right here at home. Millions of children around the world are not being educated because of poverty in underdeveloped countries. Many organizations exist to assist these poverty-stricken areas and developed countries, such as the United States. There is, unfortunately, a rising trend in teens taking the easy way out and not choosing to finish their high school career and post-high school education. It is our duty to help the youth figure out their future to become a successful gateway and to help ensure that children all over the world get to experience that same gateway. Thank you.